Hey, it's Caressa.
Hey, it's Maddie.
You're not watching the Disney Channel right now.
You're listening to
Dreadfully Twisted. We want to put this disclaimer at the beginning of this episode. While I was editing this episode at about 37 minutes, Maddie's microphone cut out and it stopped working, and you can hear her in some parts on my microphone. So I tried to amplify her as best as I possibly could, but in some parts you can't hear her at all. So we really would like to apologize for the sound quality at the end of this episode and that issue. We will make sure that this doesn't happen again, but I only found out after editing it, and we just really want to apologize, and we are sorry. So we hope you still listen to this episode because it's still a good one, even though you can't hear Maddie's, I'm sorry, you can hear my cat meowing because I'm recording this after the fact, but even though you can't hear Maddie's microphone, please still listen because the information in this episode is still really important to listen to. We would really like to apologize for that issue. So thank you, and please still listen. Thank you. Bye. Hello, we're here again.
Guess who's back again. Dreadfully Twisted, back. Tell your friends.
Seriously, please do.
Yes, please do.
So before we get started here, we had a couple questions for you all. One is we were really thinking about doing merch. So we were wondering if anybody would be interested in buying merch, like a shirt that says like "What is wrong with you" on it, and then has Dreadfully Twisted on it, and like stickers and maybe hats and like all that stuff. So please let us know your opinions on our social medias or email us just so we know, like if you
even comment on our Instagram or something like that. Like even like comment on TikTok, anything. Yeah, honestly,
comment on any posts.
DM us. You could DM us.
Just so like we have an idea, because we don't want to try to start this and then
then we don't get any sales.
Yeah, so we just wanted to see everybody's opinions first before we started doing merch. Yes. So if you're interested, there'll be shirts, hats, stickers, pretty much anything you could think of. Cups, probably. Anything that you would want. Any funny sayings, or if you have any ideas for it,
let us know.
Please. And then our other ask is, for our 25th episode, we're going to be doing Glitch in the Matrix stories. So if you could please send us your Glitch in the Matrix stories that we can like tell or talk about on the podcast here, that would be great, because we want to hear from you, because we think that's very interesting.
Your stories or stories that you heard and thought were interesting. You know, if you need an example of like a glitch in the Matrix, here's one.
Okay.
So one time I went and got my nails done for like prom whenever I was in high school. And it was like, I can't remember, like it was after prom. So and I looked and I realized that one of my nails were on the ground, and I was like, okay. And I looked at in my hands, and literally not like my nails were all still there. Like not one of them fell off. So why was there an extra nail on the ground? It was the same exact way I got them done. It was the same nails that were on my nails.
Wow.
But none of them fell off.
Was this like the day of prom?
No, it was like after. It was
after.
Probably that week after.
So it was after,
sometime.
like way after you got your nails done.
Yeah, it was so weird because like
crazy.
It was just so weird. I was like, well, there's a glitch in the Matrix that just happened. So yeah,
that's crazy. Whoa.
I seen on TikTok that happened to someone else too. I was like, oh my God.
I think I did see that
like,
too.
I'm not alone.
Yeah, I mean, I've had some crazy stories too, where I could probably talk about on our next episode. But if you guys do have like stories like that, or like any stories that are like similar to that, please send them in to our email at dreadfullytwistedpodcast@gmail.com. Or you can DM us it on our TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, or you could also post it on our Reddit page, which is the r/dreadfullytwistedpod.
Yes.
Because we would love to read your stories and talk about them. So yeah.
It's gonna be a good one. I'm excited.
Definitely. So do you have any other things you wanted to say or anything?
Nope. I think I'm ready to dive in.
Okay.
I'm scared.
It's not like, it's a little heavy, but it's not as heavy as the last ones. I mean, they're all gruesome and they're all like awful.
Yeah.
But this one is the Family Feud Murderer.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
So I saw this case on like a video. It came up on my TikTok the one time, and my mom also sent it like a video about it to me like last week or something. So I was like, okay, this is everybody telling me I need to cover it because I wanted to cover it and I thought it was interesting. So yeah, we'll go into it now. So Rebecca Bleefnick, aka Becky, which she preferred to be called Becky, so I will be calling her Becky in the whole entire way through this. A couple times I do refer to her as Rebecca, but that was just like a slip because, I mean, so I'm just going to call her Becky out of respect for her.
Yeah.
Becky was born in November 1981 in Quincy, Illinois. She excelled academically and graduated as valedictorian from Quincy Notre Dame High School. Then Becky went to Quincy University to further her education, and she earned a bachelor's degree in biological science with a minor in chemistry. Which, wow, I can't even. You have to be really smart to do that.
Yeah.
That alone shows just how smart she is. Becky started working at Sanofi Aventis in pharmaceutical. That's very hard to say. Talking is hard. Sales. She was a top sales performer. However, she pursued nursing because that was her true calling. She went to Blessing. I don't know how to say this word. So I like this name of this college, so I'm so sorry if I like mess this up. Blessing Riemann College of Nursing and Health Sciences, and graduated summa cum laude. I don't know how to say that either, so I'm sorry. She worked as a nurse in various ways. She was dedicated. She was a travel nurse during the COVID pandemic, which I have to applaud her for because
definitely.
Like I couldn't even imagine being a nurse during that time.
I know. A travel nurse especially.
Yeah, you have to go to like different hospitals and stuff like that, and it's just
different places and on a plane and like ugh.
And just being a nurse in general, like,
you know. Yeah.
Thank you to all the nurses. We appreciate you.
You're awesome.
In her personal life outside of work, Becky was selfless. She contributed to her community and volunteered at St. Peter's Grade School Association and volunteered with on the page. An animal rescue group. Becky also had planned to volunteer at Quest Stables to assist with therapeutic horse riding services. So she just all around was just a great person.
Yeah.
And she liked to help and she was just amazing. So I feel like I could just like picture myself being friends with her.
Yeah.
When Becky was at Quincy University, that's when she met Timothy Bleefnick, who was a celebrated college football player who also earned a spot in the university's Hall of Fame later on. Their relationship started, and then in 2009, they got married in Fort Wayne, Indiana, before coming back to Quincy. They had 3 kids together, they purchased a house on Kentucky Road, and they created a tight-knit family and seemed to flourish there. So they were like a very close family. They were like building up their family life together. Timothy was a sales executive at Quincy Farm Products. Becky worked at the Blessing Hospital. Unfortunately, after 10 years of marriage, their marriage started to decline. Becky was beyond happy being with her boys. She also posted pictures of their family moments online, and it wasn't perfect as those images depicted. There was cracks in the relationship that started to like become visible and form, but like online, it looked like everything was perfect when it wasn't, which is
always so many cases.
That's so many cases, and like this, like it's just crazy because like if it was just civil, this probably wouldn't have happened.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to do a TikTok case, like cover a bunch of TikTok cases because there's so many of them, like TikTokers that have either died or have committed like the crime.
I saw one that she was like a astrology, like spiritual TikTok influencer that she just did something recently and it was crazy.
Yeah. There's a lot of them.
There is. And I'm like, you wouldn't think that. Like, you think, like, if you're a TikToker, you wouldn't.
I know.
But I guess you don't know people. But what?
Oh, my God. Did you hear about the one? I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, you're fine.
Did you hear about the one about the 2 girls who literally took a TikTok after they got home wearing a necklace that they found on a dead body? And then they took a video literally telling everybody that they found one.
what is wrong with you?
Or that they seen a dead body. I don't know if they said that they stole it or whatever, but they ended up getting arrested because they stole like a chain or jewelry from the dead body. Yeah. And that TikTok was literally like, as soon as I got home, and they're just like,
was this today?
No, this was like a while ago.
Oh, I was gonna say.
I gotta send you. It's probably on TikTok somewhere, but it was like, because people it's crazy.
Will
they
repost it, they'll do edit, like they'll do like everything to like get it out there.
It's so crazy.
That'd be very interesting. We should do like a episode just on TikTok or
definitely
TikTok murderers or killers or whatever.
Yes.
So back into this case. Just a little unhinged for a second, but now we're rehinging from last episode. You listened to it?
Yes.
It was great. Well, not great, but like it was funny in some parts. But in February 2009, they decided to separate. Becky stayed in the home they got together, and Tim rented a house on Hampshire Street in Quincy, which was less than a mile away from the house that they shared together that Becky now lives in. They shared custody of the children. In May of 2019, only a few short months of the separation, Tim and some relatives flew into Los Angeles to record an episode of Family Feud. So I'm going to insert that clip here because it's crazy because like it's kind of like foreshadowing and it's very haunting now.
Yeah.
Like just knowing what happens later.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to play that. It's literally a 13-second clip from this episode. So here we go.
What's the biggest mistake you made at your wedding? Honey, I love you, but said I do. Not my mistake. I love my wife. I'm going to get in trouble for that, aren't I?
It's terrifying.
Yeah, so pretty much Steve Harvey asked him, what was the biggest mistake at your wedding? And then he says, honey, saying I do. And then Steve Harvey gives him like a look like, what did you just say? And then he was like, not me, I love my wife. And then obviously you didn't. If you do what you're gonna do. So that was like one of the clips that I saw whenever I first like heard about this case, and I was like, if you really wanted to like I get like he explains like later there was like a video where he explained why he said that, and maybe I should play that, I don't know, but he pretty much says like that he was thinking about what other people would want. Like be like what the polls would be on Family Feud, because I guess it goes by polling. At the same time, I think that would be so far from my mind if I was asked that question.
I know.
I feel like the biggest mistake at your wedding would be like, oh, I got the wrong caterer. Yeah. Something. Not like, oh, I'm saying I do to the person that I wanted to be with the rest of my life. I don't know. It's just crazy to me, and I'm just like, nah, no. But for the Bleefnick family, it was a positive experience. Like being on Family Feud, except for that. Though being on Family Feud, Tim's 15 minutes of TV fame faded, like eventually. Though the issues and the marital troubles didn't. The next few years, they had battles over custody, financial obligations, and the issues escalated. Becky and Timothy couldn't agree on anything, whether it was a small matter or a huge one. Which is like, just agree. Like, just agree. Like, make it easier on your kids. Just agree. Like, don't just be civil.
Yeah, exactly.
It would just be easier for everybody if you were just civil. In January 2021, Tim filed for a dissolution of marriage. They couldn't be civil, and the disputes between them became so toxic that the state had to step in and appointed a guardian ad litem to protect the children. Like the children's welfare. Sorry, talking is hard.
Talking is hard.
Which is like, wow, it had been really bad.
I know, definitely.
For it to like, you had like the state had to be like, hey, we need to help you.
Yeah.
Like, don't do that. The appointee was Rick Zimmerman, who testified later in court about his view of Becky and Tim's relationship at that time. He said that they would fight about everything and that there was a lot of animosity, and he reviewed text messages between them. Not all, but a few that he reviewed. And that in reviewing those messages, he didn't see or observe any acts of domestic violence. Rick Zimmerman viewed those messages because he wanted to see the communication between Becky and Tim, to see how they would communicate and where they were with each other for the children's welfare, for their welfare, and just to see like where they were standing, so he can know like, okay, this is what we need to do here. May 7th of 2021, Becky sent a coworker a message that showed the upsetting parts of the dissolving marriage. I'm going to go over in this And I probably should have put this in the beginning, like, trigger warning, domestic violence is involved in this case, so just letting you know. But I'm going to be going over some text messages that Becky had sent to other people or conversations that Becky had with other people, just to give some insight on her feelings and her view of everything, just so you know.
Yeah.
The message stated, this is what Becky sent her coworker. He, in quotes, "He has screamed in my face, shoved me in front of the kids, and has thrown objects across the room where the kids and I were standing. He punched a hole in the wall. If things don't go his way, I feel he can be very unstable and unpredictable, and the thought has gone through my mind on if I may need a restraining order. I'm definitely changing the locks as soon as I can." So yeah, that's just a little insight on the beginning of the dissolving marriage. And then
Or Becky.
yeah, it's very sad for her and
like the kids too.
The kids, they're very young,
yeah.
But at the same time, like, divorce,
and
this is just coming from like my own like situation. It's very hard on the parents and the kids, so like it's better just to keep it as easy as possible.
Yeah.
But I feel so bad for Becky and like all of this, and it gets really sad for her. And yeah, so I mean, I guess this case is kind of sad and it's kind of heavy, but like they all are.
They all are. I don't think there's any happy true crime cases.
No. And then trigger warning, threatening with suicide. There is no suicide that actually happens, but there is a threat. She said in another text, "Tim told me if I outed his dad." Oh wait, I completely missed a whole sentence. Hold on. 2 days later, after Becky sent that message, she found out something about Tim's father. And then she said in another text, "Tim told me if I outed his dad that he would probably have to move, then kill himself. I absolutely think he'll try to take the kids sometime." So like, yeah, like he's standard abuser.
Yeah.
Threatening with that, like being not good, you know, just being an awful person. The details in that revealing fact of the allegations of Tim's father have not been like released. They are unclear. We don't know what that was. And records relating to it were sealed by the judge in court later. So we don't know what that is. So, I mean, you could probably just guess yourself. I don't know what it is, so I'm not going to try to guess what it was. But it was something that Becky didn't like. Later in the trial, Rick Zimmerman, who was the attorney, was questioned about the situation. And in that questioning, Rick said Becky was concerned about the custody of the kids and who would be around them. And she was concerned about Tim's father being around them. She didn't want them to be around him unless it was supervised.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
Don't be like that, men. Please do not.
Yeah. Just don't be an awful person.
Yeah.
Just be a good person. It's not that hard. Like, really.
Seriously.
Just be nice and understanding with things, and then you'll be fine in life.
I feel like it would take more effort to be an awful person than to be a good person anyways.
Then, like,
so
that has to be taxing on your mental health.
I know.
Not to be a good person.
Seriously.
Like, just be a good person. It's not that hard.
I know. It costs nothing.
Exactly. Really. Becky and Tim's issues continued to rise and get worse. September 4th of 2021, Becky sent a text to her sister that stated, "If something ever happens to me, please make sure the number one person of interest is Tim, because that is who would do something to me."
Terrifying.
That literally
That's
gave
scary.
me chills just now. But that's so chilling to know, like, oh, my husband would do this to me if anything would happen. The person that's supposed to love you and protect you. Like, ooh. Like, why did you, like, get married?
I know.
You could have
I know, seriously.
Like, why did you have to meet him? You could have just met somebody else.
Yeah.
Awful. Becky then filed protection orders against Tim and his father in 2021, and Tim's response was to serve her with a restraining order.
Wow.
He's like, so you served me with one, so I'm gonna serve one to you. Like, that doesn't even make sense. She's not even harming you.
I know, seriously.
Like, how?
That was a complete waste. She's not gonna go around you anyways.
Exactly. Like, there's no point.
Yeah.
August of 2022, it got so bad that a court order was necessary to address the exchange of their 3 boys, which mandated that Tim and Becky had to stay within 3 feet of their cars during these exchanges. January 5th of 2023, Becky ran into a friend while shopping and confided in them about a statement Tim had said, which he stated, "You'll be dead before you get any of my money."
Ew.
Right? Like, why would you say that? And why would you even think that? Like,
he's a POS.
Right? He makes me so mad.
Me too.
He makes me so mad. Which shows he was intimidating and threatening during Becky, like to Becky during the whole entire divorce process. Becky felt like she needed extra protection, so she requested a return of a 9mm. Isn't that right? 9mm. Yeah, a 9mm. Right? I should know guns because, okay. It's a 9mm gun that she had purchased, but it was in Tim's possession. She bought a gun safe to put the gun in. It's that gun.
Oh no.
February 10th, Tim contacted Quincy Police Department and asked them if they could return the 9mm gun to Becky on his behalf because he didn't want to do it. However, the police denied that request. 5 days later, after this request, Tim and Becky separately were notified by the family court that their divorce was set for its final hearings on March 3rd, which this court date marked an opportunity for them to settle their legal differences and move on. But you could probably guess where this is going. Yeah. So February 23rd, 2023, this is when everything ends. Becky's father became concerned because he received a text message from Tim where Tim stated that Becky mentioned that she was not feeling well. She did just recently go through oh my gosh. Talking is hard.
Talking is hard.
She did just recently go through I can't say that word. Abdominal surgery. However, after she told Tim that she wasn't feeling well, she did stop responding. That's when Tim told her father that, all this. He said she wasn't feeling well and that she wasn't responding. And Tim asked him who was to pick up the boys from school. And with Becky's father being worried, he decided to go check on her. When he arrived at her house, the front door was wide open and Becky's car was in the garage. So he knew, she didn't leave.
Yeah.
When he walked through the house, he got to her bedroom and then he found Becky's body on the bathroom floor. Her appearance indicated that rigor mortis had already set in. He called 911 at 3:30 p.m. A patrol officer arrived in 3 minutes. When the officer arrived, they noticed signs of forced entry on her bedroom door. Becky was found in the bathroom and she had multiple gunshot wounds with 6 to 7 shell casings close by. The officer then escalated this to the police department's criminal investigation division. Then officers began to process the scene and canvass the area surrounding it, and they were trying to seek surveillance footage of who could possibly have done this. So they were going to neighbors and stuff. 2 days later, Deputy Chief Michael Tyler was asked about the status of the investigation by the media. He replied with that they had multiple officers on the case and that they were working on trying to develop leads. Hold on, I need a drink of water. March 1st, 2023, which was 8 days after.
Talking is hard.
I can't talk today. March 1st, 2023, which was 8 days after Becky's murder, Tim was pulled over by police only 2 blocks from his house. They served him with search warrants for his house and vehicle. Tim did hand over his house and vehicle. He handed over his house and vehicle. He's like, here you go, here's my house. Just picked the whole thing up and handed it to them.
Open your hand.
Because I read that wrong. Sorry, I can't read my handwriting. It's awful. Okay. Tim did hand over his keys for both his house and vehicle and went to a family member's house while they conducted the search of his house and vehicle. I just want to clarify, Tim was not arrested at this point, and the police records indicate that he was cooperative with them, so they didn't arrest him. They were just trying to collect possible evidence that was either in his car or his house. And there was evidence gathered, so all the evidence gathered from the search from his home and vehicle, as well as evidence from the crime scene, was sent to the Illinois State Police Crime Lab in Springfield for analysis. Becky's funeral was held that Friday, March 3rd, 2023, at 10 a.m. at the St. Peter Church. And then March 13th, 2023, only 12 days after the search warrants and the return of the crime lab results, the Quincy Police Department held a press conference where they provided an update on the investigation. The update was that they arrested Timothy Bleefnick at 8:24 a.m. on the charges for 2 counts of first-degree murder and home invasion for the murder of Becky Bleefnick. He also had no bond. Timothy was found and taken without any incident. He was then taken to Adams County Jail Josh Jones was the lead trial attorney for the state's attorney office, and Laura Keck was the domestic violence prosecutor at the trial and at this time. And she was also the partner with Josh Jones on the case, so like they were working together. They spoke at the press conference to reassure the public that it was not random act of violence, but that it was an act of domestic violence. Both murder counts are Class M felonies under Illinois law and carry a sentencing range from 45 to 85 years. As for the gunshot residue, As for the gunshot residue, that information was not released to the public after the testing. Allegedly, Tim searched on Google, "Can you just wash off gunshot residue?"
Wow.
Yeah, there's some crazy things that he does. If that was confirmed, then it would suggest that he may have knowledge and awareness on how to clean up after shooting a gun. When the police searched Tim's house, they found disposable gloves in a garbage can. Those were found too late to get testing for the gunshot residue because they were already in the garbage can and contaminated with other things in the trash can. And the murder weapon has not been found. Josh Jones, the prosecutor, explained the multiple counts of murder. So the reason why he was charged on, like, when he was arrested on 2 counts of first-degree murder was, and this is a quote from him, it's a very long quote, so I apologize, but this is all a quote. So beginning of the quote, "There often will be 3 counts of first-degree murder or 4 counts of first-degree murder, and we charge it that way because of how the murder statute is written. You can commit murder if your mental state was that you intended to kill, so we would charge it that way. You can charge it first-degree murder with intent to cause great bodily harm. Even if you didn't intend to kill them, you intended to harm this person, and your acts resulted in death. 2 counts of murder doesn't mean there's more than one victim. It just means that we have alternate ways of charging him," end quote. So it just pretty much means, like, you intended to hurt the person.
Yeah.
So that's very explanatory to me, because I don't understand sometimes how they charge people with things.
Same.
Like, I need you to explain it to me in every case.
I know.
Because that way I can know, like, okay, this is why they got, like, this sentence or whatever. But this is before, like, the hearing and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So this is just, like, beforehand. So, like, whenever he was arrested, they were like, "We are arresting you for this."
Yeah.
So, like, he wasn't actually charged yet, but that's, like, the language that they used. Just in case anybody was wondering. Since a gun was used in the home invasion, the sentencing range on that charge increases from a maximum of 30 years to a max of life in prison. Just kind of crazy.
Yeah, it is.
Like, I don't know. Tim's attorney, Casey Schnack, told... Okay, this is crazy. This is insane. She told People magazine the following quote: "The state's attorney office appears to be coming out with a narrative that this was an act of domestic violence. And the fact of the matter is there was no domestic violence that we were aware of. Tim doesn't have a criminal history. He's never been arrested for battery, domestic battery, anything violent, anything ever. There was tremendous pressure from the community for an arrest to be made, and naturally the estranged spouse is going to be the number one suspect regardless of the other circumstances." That was the beginning of her quote.
Wow.
Okay, so he's never been charged with anything, so you're saying that he couldn't possibly do this?
I swear they all frickin' say that. Like, not all of them, but like a lot of them say that. They're like, "Oh, well, he's not in our system, or he's never done anything like this before, so he couldn't have done it."
Yeah.
What? Just because he hasn't done it before doesn't mean he didn't do it now.
Yeah, and like abusers put on an act and they'll keep it hidden from the public. So how do you, like, of course you don't know if there's domestic violence going on.
Yeah,
because,
exactly.
Like, they're hiding it. And then like this other spouse or whoever's being like domestically like abused isn't going to come forward like, hey, because nobody's going to believe them.
And how could she literally sit there and say that it didn't happen? She wasn't even there.
Exactly.
Like, that makes me so mad. Like, how are you going to discredit what happened to her?
Yeah.
Ugh, I hate her.
It gets worse. So she then said he was active in the community. He was a youth football coach. He was actively involved in the church here. A lot of people knew him. It's very surprising that this is where the family is at right now. He's your standard all-American Midwestern dad.
Oh, wow. Yeah, totally.
Well, congrats for him. He's also a freaking murderer. Okay, he goes to church, but he can still be a killer.
Exactly.
Okay, yeah, he's a football coach, but he could still did this murder.
Yeah, exactly.
He could put on an act that he's like this lovely guy, but he's really deep down a piece of crap.
Ma'am, listen to Dreadfully Twisted and go back, like a good 6 episodes or so, or to when I did the one about the pastor.
Yeah.
Like, actually, I did 2 about pastors. Yeah. 2 pastors from the church who were the ones who committed rape and murder. So, you mean to tell me, because he was a member of the church, he can't do it?
And that he was a football coach, because, football coaches freaking do bad things to children, too. So
exactly.
I'm not saying he did, but I'm just saying, like,
exactly.
They're not good people all the time.
Nope.
That got me heated.
I know, me
Whenever
too.
I was doing research, my mouth literally dropped, and I was like, what?
I'm lightly salted.
No, heavily salted is okay. Heavily salted.
That needs to go in the clip.
Definitely. You're a margarita right now. And all that salt on the rim.
We're feeling like a couple of margaritas.
With just all that salt on there. It makes me so angry. And it gets even freaking worse.
Oh no. Right.
Yeah, don't they always?
Yeah, exactly. Always? They definitely do.
So, oh my god. And I literally put in my notes, ugh, so what? He's awful still, putting on an ad.
Literally.
That was just me, like, I was just so angry at that time when I was doing research. Once Tim was sent to Adams County Jail, he had a trial the following day about bond. And bond was denied, which, good, it should have been.
Yeah, good.
Becky and Tim's 3 children were in the custody of the Department of Children and Family Services. Then they were placed with Becky's family members. Good. Because, like, they shouldn't be with his family members right now.
Exactly.
So, from now on, I'm going to be talking about, like, the trial, kind of. And then also talking about, like, the evidence that they've gathered. And I'm going to go into, like, that detail. Like, those details. At the trial, prosecutor Josh Jones' opening statement painted a picture of Becky's last minutes and described the murder in detail. She was supposed to be home alone. Her 3 boys were actually supposed to be at Tim's house, which was less than 3 miles away, like I said before.
Yeah.
And let me just say this. Whenever I watched a video on Josh Jones' opening statement, and he's a good lawyer.
Really?
Like, he made me feel like things.
Yeah.
Because, like, whenever he was, like, describing it, he got so passionate about it. And I was literally tearing up all, like, doing it, like, doing this research, just because, like, you can tell he has so much passion for, like, justice, is what I want to say. But, I mean, if you want to watch the video, you can. You don't have to. But it was just I just felt like I needed to say that.
Yeah.
Because his, like, every time he talked was just wow. Like, it was just shocking to, like, see somebody that passionate about trying to get justice for somebody who was murdered because they don't have a voice and he's trying to be their voice for them. It was just really impactful to me. Like, I don't know. It just made me feel like, wow, like, good people are out there.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Because you see so many, like, lawyers who just don't care and stuff. Like,
oh, yeah, like Casey?
Yeah.
Because she says some more stuff that will make you really salty.
Casey.
Oh, like a really quick question. Not a quick question, but really quick thing. When I was at Five Below earlier, I saw, like, you know how, like, Taylor Swift has those, like, bracelets that have, like, words on them and they have, like, beads and stuff. Well, Five Below had a bunch of those beads, and I saw one that said salty, and I was like, I need that, because sometimes I get salty, and now we need those bracelets because we do. It's salty.
Yes, we do.
Next time I go to Five Below, I'm gonna go tomorrow. I should get those bracelets for us.
Yes.
Tomorrow. Oh, I need to cut that out. I need to cut that out because I just said a town that's, like, close to us. Okay. So this is what happened. So Becky heard a crash and then ran into her bedroom and shut the door and tried to dial 911, which was found, like, at the scene. But while she was dialing, the door was opened and the door frame was broken, and her phone fell out of her hand and she ran into the bathroom. When she turned and fell because she was shot at. And I'm going to quote the prosecutor here because it's horrifying and chilling, and you have to hear it from his words, because this literally gave me chills whenever I was watching, like, the video that I was, like, helping me with research, because this is also the video of him talking. Quote, she fell on her back and she looked up into the eyes of the murderer. She looked up into the eyes she had looked into before, into the eyes that had promised her once, till death do us part. She looked into the eyes of her murderer, her husband, the defendant. Like, that gave me chills again. And Tim shot her 14 times. 14 times. That's a lot of times to shoot somebody. And I'll go into later what that meant, or what we think, like, they think, and what I think it means. But you can just tell, like, that's insane. And that had to be done with so much anger, just to be like, boom, 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 boom. Like, you could stop after one, but he didn't. The defending attorney, Casey Schnack, in Schnack's opening statement, said that Jones' opening statement was just a story and it wasn't evidence. She also stated that the evidence will come from witness testimony and exhibits. Then she also said that the opening statement shouldn't be taken into account for the jury's verdict. I was like, what? Like, isn't that a point of an opening statement?
Everybody can see my face right now. I was like, huh? Like, my face is just like, huh?
Yeah. It's just crazy. What is wrong with you? She was talking to the jury the whole time, telling them they get to determine who is to believe and what is credible. What an opening statement is what I have in mind. Yeah. And what the evidence proves, doesn't prove, and what it doesn't prove. She also said the burden of proof is not the one and is not on Tim. The burden of proof is proof beyond a reasonable doubt. What? Tim killed her. Yeah. And then she just kept saying, like, reasonable doubt. You have to have reasonable doubt. And they were just like, okay, we get it, like, reasonable doubt. But, like, there is evidence, like, linking him to this crime. And you just keep saying proof of reasonable doubt. It's because you don't know what to go off of, and you're just not a good lawyer. Like, no offense. Some offense. Maybe. And, like, I don't know. The evidence found in this case was 27 shell casings were found in Tim's basement, and they were the same bullets as the one found in Becky's body and at the scene. They were fired from the same gun. Now, each gun marks every bullet it fires the same way, and all guns are different. So, like, one gun will, like, mark it with, like, a specific marking. Another gun will mark it with a different specific marking, but they're all consistent whenever you shoot it. Every single bullet's going to have that same marking from that specific gun. So that's how they were able to tell, like, this casing was the same from that gun as the gun that was in Tim's basement, if that makes sense. Yeah. Tim asked his neighbor a few weeks before Becky's murder if they had any cameras that covered their backyard. Yeah. He's like, hey, do you have any cameras that cover your backyard? That's not suspicious at all. Don't be suspicious.
Watch too much TikTok.
Well, I've heard that from something else too. But yeah, we do watch too much TikTok. There was also a surveillance video of someone possibly on a bike at the same time of the murder. And there was DNA found to be his on pieces of plastic near Becky's body, which was possibly used for him to use as, like, a homemade silencer for the gun. Yeah. And on February 23rd, 2023, hours before anyone knew Becky was dead, Tim brought over a little Tykes basketball hoop to his dad's house. Now remember, Becky didn't want his father around the kids, and they weren't around him for 2 years until this day. Yeah. That's suspicious.
Yeah, a little bit.
Then on February 23rd, 2023, the kids were supposed to walk home from school, but Tim arrived an hour early to pick them up to make sure they didn't walk home. Suspicious. Suspicious. Don't be suspicious. Sus.
Sus.
So sus. Very. The police took his phone, his computer, and his Whoop fitness armband for analysis. Now, I don't know if you know what a Whoop fitness armband is. I didn't, but it's kind of like a Fitbit is what I got from it. So when they searched his phone, the police found internet searches, which they were also done on February 14th at 1 a.m. The first one, how to open my door with a crowbar. Second one, can I force open my door with a crowbar if I lock myself out? Next one, how to make a homemade pistol silencer. This next one's crazy. Average Quincy, Illinois Police Department response time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Incriminating much.
Right? Like, and these are all, like, back to back too. Yeah. So, like, and then another one. How can I check if a gun is registered to me? Does my Whoop record the exact times I wear it? How to clean gunpowder off of your hands. On the same phone, Tim used a website about how to open a window from the outside. And another website about how to use a crowbar to open a door. And a crowbar was used to enter Becky's home. Yeah. Dude, can you, like, leave more of a trail? I just put like M&Ms.
Yeah,
but like this is where I was at like every point of my life here, like every point of like February 23rd. Just yeah, then you'll take it to Becky's house. Like weeks before Becky's murder, neighbors were warned about a random prowler, and police investigated that, and it turns out it was Tim. Yeah, he was trying to make up a fake story because the defense for him was trying to say that there was a random prowler who killed Becky, but it was him. Yeah, what is wrong with you? A text between Becky and her friend were used in court. Some of the ones Becky sent were, and I'm going to do another quotes of her text here. So, quote, he wants everything. Wants sole custody of the kids. Wants all the money, all the assets. Wants me to suffer. Yeah. This next one is extremely heartbreaking. So prepare yourself because this is very heavy. Becky said, quote, but I've had some serious PTSD with all this and the things I found out. Plus, I've had not one, but 2 coworkers get murdered by their exes in the last year, which has totally made me a nervous Nelly. The 2 of her coworkers were murdered as well because they were getting divorced. Yeah, it's just crazy, like how many divorce cases that, like how that happens. Yeah. Like, if that's not your person anymore, just let them go. Really. Yeah. I think I heard about that one. Was he like a preacher or something, and he was going around like on shows and stuff? Yeah. And he said that she died before anybody knew she passed away. Yeah, I saw that last night. Yeah, I was like, that would be really like, did you want to cover that one? Yeah. Next one, another quote. I'd rather let people believe what he tells them and stay alive for my kids. It sounds so crazy to say that out loud, but it's not out of the realm of possibility that he would go off the deep end. And this is all text that she had sent, all within the same day. Next one. Quote, he literally cares about hurting me more than anything else. Yeah. Like, she kind of, and this kind of makes me angry, because she was, like, saying this to her friends, her family, and she was trying to get a restraining order and stuff. Literally everybody failed her in this situation. Because, like, it could have happened differently if people just took her seriously or helped her or whatever. And I'm not blaming anybody because like you don't know like what's actually happening. You don't know like what to say. You don't know what to do in those situations. But like it's just so sad. In the closing statements, Schnack kept saying proof beyond a reasonable doubt again. Eye roll. She should. Proof of reasonable doubt. Because you just love to say that. POS. She literally said, we all feel... Okay, this made me so mad. So Casey Schnack literally said, quote, we all feel sorry for Becky. We all feel sorry for her family. This is sad. When somebody dies, it's sad. When somebody dies with kids, it's sad. When somebody dies tragically, it's sad. But we are not here to decide if this is sad. We're not here to prey on your sympathy. Sympathy has its place. It has its place in the theater, but it doesn't have its place in the courtroom. I literally wrote, excuse me? First, Becky didn't just die. She was freaking murdered by your freaking defendant. Yeah, I wrote WTF because I was so mad. Right? Like, that's what I was thinking. I was like, is she having like an affair with him? Because like, she's like, he's great. Like, he's so great. Like, he didn't do this. Why are you sticking up for someone? And she's like, this is sad, but we're not here to be sad.
Literally. I was waiting for the butt. Like, I knew there was a butt coming.
Yeah. Like, what is wrong with you? Why is your head... Like, I understand lawyers have to, like, defend their defendant. Yeah. But, like, she's really going for it. Like, she could have just been, like, trying to, like, get, like, a insanity defense or something. Or, you know, something else. But, like, she's like, no, he didn't do it at all. Excuse me? Right? She's like, I know everything. I'm the encyclopedia. I know everything. I'm Wikipedia. Lady, you did not. Then, right. Everything is. Yeah. Just like Menhoz. Everything's wrong with her.
Exactly.
And Tim. Then she tried to say the state didn't have its proof, witnesses. She tried to claim that since the neighbors didn't see or hear anything and see Tim in the area on the 22nd or 23rd or had him on camera surveillance that no one could put Tim in that area. There was a video, but she said that you couldn't tell who it was. Yeah. She suggested that the verdict should be not guilty.
Oh my god.
She literally said, she was like, I hope you find Tim not guilty, pretty much, in her ending, like, closing statement.
Totally in love with him. There's no other reason that my right mind would be doing
right?
Like, what?
Yeah. And I wrote, what? There's motive. We all know he's guilty. Jeez. Crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
Delulu.
Delulu.
She's Delulu. You know what's funny? I saw a magnet at Five Below and it said, I love being Delulu or something, or like something about that. And I showed it to Jeremy. I was like, this is me sometimes because I'm like crazy. I'm like Delulu. He's like, I don't know what Delulu means. I was like, you don't know what Delulu means? I was like, it means like delirious. And he was like, okay, why would you say that? Like, why would you say Delulu? It doesn't make sense. And I was like, you don't make sense. I'm just like, I like it, Delulu.
Yeah, it's cute. I like it.
Maybe we shouldn't use that word because she's not cute.
Yeah. Yeah, she's like genuinely like cute kind of. Bad kind of Delulu.
There was a crowbar found and there was some consistencies with the marks on the door. The prosecutor said, the defense says that we're lacking in evidence, but I submit to you the Whoop data, lack of cell phone activity, computer data, the video, the bike, the DNA, Becky's statements, all that is evidence. All the evidence relates to each other, fit together, and also the shell casings. There was also details about the murder the police didn't release to the public, so how did Tim know about a crowbar was used, a gun was used, it wasn't released? And no one knew that an improvised silencer was used, but all appeared on his phone in the searches before the murders. Yeah. His Whoop was not recording when that video of the person on the bike happened, and his phone wasn't used during that either. So his phone wasn't used during the period of the murder, and neither was his Whoop, like, watch. Just a note here, Becky and Tim were married for 14 years, and he shot her 14 times. The prosecutor called 46 witnesses over a 5-day period. So what they say happened is Timothy Bleefnick broke into Becky's home with a crowbar through a window, broke down her bedroom door, and shot her 14 times in the bathroom. On May 31st, 2023, Timothy was found guilty of home invasion, guilty of first-degree murder. On August 11th, 2023, Timothy Bleefnick was sentenced to 3 life sentences. 2 of the life sentences are for the 2 counts of murder, and the 3rd life sentence is for the conviction of home invasion. He was sentenced to natural life in prison, which means there are no parole hearings, no credit for time served, and no possibility of release. That's just crazy. Like, they think that he shot her 14 times for each year that they were. Yeah.
Sorry if your name's Bleefnick.
Yeah. Timothy's a bad person.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna actually play that clip for you about why he said he killed her, or why he's not why he said he killed her, but say why he oh crap, sorry, there's an ad, but why he explains he said that in the Family Feud thing, just because like I want to play that, or my volume on for the ad.
What exactly was the question, and what was your answer?
The question was one regret that people have from their wedding day. I was thinking of what's a common answer, and the first thing that popped into my head was the divorce rate being so high.
And you said?
Saying I do.
Did you have any regrets after that?
After saying it?
Yeah.
No, because it wasn't said with any malice or bad intentions. It was supposed to be funny.
How did Becky feel about it, though, when she heard it?
She laughed about it, too, because right after Harvey looked at me like, oh, you're going to be in trouble. I even said that. And I said, hey, not me. I love my wife. And I looked right at the camera and said, I love my wife, and looked at the camera. Hi, honey, I love you. It's supposed to be humorous. It wasn't supposed to be anything other than that.
And it would never have even been remembered if what happened to Becky hadn't happened to Becky.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's Delulu.
Literally.
He's like, oh, I didn't. I want to show you a picture of Becky. She was beautiful. So I only have a picture of them both, but that's Becky and Tim earlier, and that's them with their 3 kids. But that's what he looks like now.
God, he doesn't even look like
He looks yikes. Yeah. So that was the Family Feud murderer. Just imagine, you were on Family Feud and then you go and kill your wife. Yeah. You could have just been known for the Family Feud guy. Because if it really was meant with no malice when he said that, then why did you kill her? We hate you. What is wrong with you? It doesn't matter.
Whatever it is. Okay.
Sorry if your name's Tom. Yeah. Yeah, so that was the Family Feud murderer. Yeah. So much better. And then her kids, like, not only did they lose their mom, but they also lost their father. Don't kill your spouse. Yeah, if you don't want to be with them anymore, just leave. And deal with, like, the money issues later. Like, just because he didn't want her to have any money and anything. Like, don't be like that. Don't be like that. Just be a nice person. Split it 50-50 and call it whatever, because then you can just find somebody else and rebuild your life together. Don't make it hard. Yeah. I don't think I would ever cover that case. No, because that and plus Chris Watts likes the attention. Yeah. I purposely would not want to give him that attention. Because he doesn't deserve it. Right? Yeah. So please send us in your Glitch of the Matrix stories so we can lighten this up for an episode, because we need it at this point.
Then we'll dive back into stuff.
Yeah, something lighter. So
that'll be fun. Or your own stories, whatever stories.
Yeah, stories that like your family members or friends told you. And please let us know about the merch, your opinions, if you would want to buy merch for the podcast and all the funny stuff we say. We could have Talking is Hard. We can have What is Wrong with You. We could have Rehinge and Unhinge. So please let us know on our TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, email. Any way you can like DM us, email us, or whatever. And then our social medias are TikTok, Facebook, Instagram at Dreadfully Twisted Podcast. Our email is dreadfullytwistedpodcast@gmail.com. Our Reddit is r/r/dreadfully twisted podcast or pod. Yeah, okay, I'm just gonna re-say that because I'm gonna cut all that out because I just can't forget. Our Reddit is r/dreadfully twisted pod. And please send us your stories, send us case ideas, DM us if you want with that, email us, and please subscribe to our Spotify, rate our Spotify, 5 stars, please. And then please tell your family and friends about the podcast. It really helps us stay like relevant and in the charts, and it helps us bring this podcast to you guys.
Every like.
Yes. Yeah, and subscribe to our YouTube. And just if you have friends or family that can't listen on Spotify, we are available on Amazon Music, YouTube, Pandora Radio, iHeartRadio, Listen Notes, and Podcast Index. So we're available on those platforms. So if you want to share it to your friends and family, we're on those platforms. So yeah, we love you guys. Yeah, so be a good person. Keep a smile on your face. Stay positive. Yeah, don't be like Timothy or Casey Schnack. No. Be like Josh Jones and Becky. Yeah, exactly. And we'll see you guys next week. Bye.